Everyone, please take a look up here. Take a look up here at this incense holder. What do you see? What do you see about the 3 incense sticks? Are they equal in length? When they were lit up at that time, how were the 3 sticks? Equal length, right? But now, why aren't the 3 sticks equal? Three sticks being not equal means the power of how they burn is different. Or the material that's burning is different, right? Which means if the power of burning is strong and the material that's burning catches quickly and it easily burns, then it will burn fast. However, if it has the power to burn okay, but the material that is burning is wet or damp, then what? The time to burn will take longer, right? Now, the power to burn is like the power in your practice, the awake light, the wisdom, the capacity to return home to the pure serene essence, and the material that is burning is the holding and attachments in your mind. And you will see there are times you light the incense and once it's on, after that, what happens? It fades off and it no longer burns, right? Then the burning tip, if it fades off and no longer burns, then it needs what? It needs to be reignited, to be relit. Do you all see? If it's not reignited and relit, then what? Then the source of illusion is how? The suffering is how? Does it get a chance to transform? Does it get a chance to break apart? No, it doesn't, right? That's why when you look, we give you an example so that you can see that even the incense has a chance to be lit. Each incense stick, the degree at which it transforms is different. Just like each person that practices has a chance to light up their inner light, the awake destination has a chance to rise up. Even the belief in awake is woken up, but the capacity to wake up strong or weak will determine if it can melt the illusions. Do you all see? Then there are some people who have woken up, but go back to sleep. Meaning some incense sticks are lit up but fade out and need to be relit. So the same, today in this awake funeral, student Liu Hu perhaps knew that her brother has a chance of a lifetime to meet the awakened ones, and has had chances to have his awake seed planted, but they were not very deep. And in the end, when it was his time to leave, perhaps when he left this world, he did not have serenity, nor was he very clear or at ease. That is why leaving like that, it is similar to the incense stick that didn't have what? It did not have a chance to light up. However, Liu Hu had a big chance. You followed us to practice, to be very clear about the awake destination. Rise up your awake love and witness as wake up countless people, those who are alive as well as those who have passed away. Suddenly woke up from their holdings and attachments, let go of the attachments so that they could leave this world light, free, and at ease. And those who are living let go of their attachments to return home to the pure, serene essence of the Buddhas. And it was because of your awake love and your trust, sincerely pleaded with us to turn on the awake light in your brother. so that he can follow the awake light, so that he can let go of all the sufferings and holdings and attachments. And you asked us and the Sangha and the entire Phổ Môn Suy Tử Sangha all over the world together to turn towards the awake light of the Buddhas and us, to turn on your awake light so you can support your brother. Follow that wisdom light to return to the Buddhas. Let go of everything that is suffering. Both of us have verified. And now today, I would like to invite Awaken One Suy Tử to open your wisdom mind and wake up the awake destination for all of you, and especially Ju Hong, Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear Awaken One Suy Tử, Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear Awaken One Phổ Môn, dear nuns and monks of Phổ Môn Suy Tử Awake Sangha, and all the students here and those online all over the world. Earlier, Awake One Phổ Môn mentioned that each person is like an incense stick. But let me ask you all, can each of you make your own incense? Or does it fall into the hands of the one who created it? If it weren't for the person who made it, would there be incense? It's like when you came into this world and you went into a body. Do you think you can walk on your own? Were you able to go into that body by yourself? Or was it your karma that dragged you in? Your karma pushing you into that body? Right? Was it your karma? At that moment, you are not the one to choose, depending on where your karma takes you, and it is your very own karma that takes you once you leave your body. It is your karma that takes you, your own karma consciousness, depending on the situation that matches that karmic consciousness at that time that pushes you into a body. Therefore, once you enter a body, those of you who have a lucky chance to meet an awakened one, then there is a chance for your awake light to be lit, right? And that awake light needs to be constantly lit, similar to the incense stick, constantly being lit, constantly being burned. And the incense stick that burns nonstop is how? Its body easily deteriorates. And those ingredients that make up the incense represent your karma. When the light burns the incense, isn't it true that the incense stick gets shorter and shorter? It's like if you have the awake light and you are able to light it up, then your karma will transform, getting less and less. But when the incense stops halfway, the awake light is no longer there. It cannot burn anymore. You cannot come to Awaken Once and ask for help anymore. So then at that point, what now? The incense will stop burning and your karma stays the same. There are people who live in this world. They have good chances, deep, solid, awake merits to be able to meet the awakened ones, to get the wisdom light lit up. And that person is able to have their wisdom light turned on, continuously nourish and strengthen the awake light. And because they nourish it really well, their karma eventually disappears under the awake light. Then there are those people who do not have a chance to light up their awake light yet, or they have a chance to have their light lit up, but did not do so constantly. And if they do not have it on constantly, and it only burned halfway, then the rest of the incense body stays the same. Which means their karma is still there. And there are those people who don't get a chance to have their light turned on at all, like Home. The light just barely there, but because of the chance of having his younger sister Hugh, who's been practicing under us, introduced Home to know about us. He hadn't met us yet, but in Vietnam, he had a chance to be involved in a few of the retreats, even knowing about the awake light. He had passed away before having had a chance for us to turn on his awake light. So the entire fog of karma was still there. And when that fog of karma was still there, when he left this world, he left in what? He left in the same fog of karma. That karma controlled where he's going next. And that is a place that is dark, heavy, and sluggish. That is the result of a person who did not get their awake light turned on and left this world in darkness and blindness. Even so, Home still had a good chance to have this day for us to host his awake funeral and to have his wisdom mind opened by us. So Home knows clearly that in his life, without awake light, he would leave this world in heaviness, darkness, pain, and suffering. But it's not just waiting for the day to leave this world in darkness and heaviness. Even when we are alive and there's no awake light living inside of us, we still live in darkness, heaviness, pain, and create suffering for ourselves and others, right in our daily living. If it is already dark and heavy, then when leaving this world, we will leave in the same state, dark and heavy. So today we open Wisdom Mind for Home to know clearly, and for everyone to know clearly, that the awake light is very much needed for everyone, those alive and those dead. If you live with no awake light, then you live in darkness and blindness. You live, but you make yourself suffer and make others suffer, but you don't know it. You make yourself suffer and others suffer, and right there you create more karma, commit more sins, so that when you leave your karma, it's heavier, darker, sluggish, confused, and more fear. Actually, the incense is called an incense, but by itself, it is not an incense stick, right? Because of the hands who made the incense, because of the materials put together, that's what created the incense. So, is the incense real? Is that incense originally real? It's because of the many conditions put together. Although many conditions put together, that incense originally by itself isn't real. However, you hold on to that incense as real. In your daily living, you hold on to it as real, that there is body, mind, objects of mind. Hold on to it as real. Therefore, happy, sad in the body, happy, sad in the mind, happy, sad in the mind and objects of mind. And from there, in daily living, commit sins, and you don't even know it. It's also because of you holding on to it as real. And the reason you hold on to it as real is due to what? You don't have the awake light lit in you for you to see that what you hold on to as real is just an illusion. The nature of it is illusion. That's why those who are lucky, they get a chance to have their awake light lit. Right at that time, the awake light is lit inside of them. Then they will realize what is the nature of illusion. They will see what is the nature of illusion within the incense, as well as the nature of illusion in body-mind objects of mind. And because they see it as not real, yet hold on to it as real, therefore they constantly plead and ask us to turn on their awake light so that their holding as real begin to little by little fall apart, keep falling apart, keep falling apart. And the awake light getting clearer, clearer, clearer until everything is completely awake light. It is then that the illusion and holding onto it is no longer there. Are you clear about this? Because it is illusion, so it's easy to melt and disappear, even though it's easy to melt and disappear. If it doesn't have awake light, can it truly melt? Like snow, if there is no sunlight, is the snow able to melt? No, it doesn't have enough strength to melt. Even though you shovel, you scoop, you do whatever, many ways, if there is no sunlight, the snow will be the same. That is the miraculousness of awake light. Those who are alive and those that have passed away today know the miraculousness of awake light. And for those among you whose light have already been lit, I hope that your awake light keeps burning nonstop. And those whose light have not been lit, you have to do what it takes to plead to awaken ones to have your awake light lit up, so that you can soon realize the illusion in your present daily living. And when you receive it like that, there will be a day your awake light is stronger. And one day the illusion that you hold on to so tightly will melt and disappear. Like when the sun rises, the snow melts. So today, I hope that those who are still living, as well as those who have died, somehow are able to turn on your awake light and keep it burning. Do not let it burn out. Then you will have a day you're holding of what is real will fall apart. As when the snow melts under the sun. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear everyone, when the sun rises, the clouds disappear. Similar to what I said earlier about the 3 incense sticks. Whether the fast burning or slow burning stick, like Awakened One Suitug said, when the wisdom light constantly gets lit, then all hatred disappears. The source of illusion breaks apart, completely falls apart. Don't be afraid of the attachments or hatred being deep and solid, but fear that the awake light is not lit constantly in you. If the light is lit constantly, then similar to these 3 incense sticks, sooner or later, the clouds will disappear. And all will go back to the pure serene essence, open, empty, free, and immaculate. And for Chu Hong the same. If he truly thoroughly realized this, follow the awake light of awakened ones, turn on your wisdom light, then for sure, all of the clouds of karma, clouds of hatred, clouds of holdings and attachments will all fall apart, and you will return to the Buddha essence. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.